Hello, friends, and welcome to Your Daily Detroit. It is Friday, August 5th, 2022. Coming to you from south of Woodward, I'm Jer Stays.
And west of Woodward, I'm Devon O'Reilly. Jer, I think you're underselling just how south of Woodward you are, though.
I'm in the home of Dolly Parton, Seiverville, Tennessee.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So you're way down there. How is Tennessee treating you?
Absolutely beautiful. You know, Dolly Parton is a national treasure. On the way in, got my selfie with the Dollyville statue in front of the courthouse. There's a few things that I learned that were like Detroit ties and different things. First off, the picture that's near the statue features none other than Lily Tomlin, the comedian actress from Detroit who grew up over by where the congregation now sits. And a lot of her characters were based on her childhood in Detroit, and she was part of the music video and all that stuff for that 9 to 5 movie, you know, that iconic song 9 to 5. Yeah. So I had a little bit of reminding of home then. There's a really cool story about an African-American brickmaker that made like most of the bricks in Seiverville. Super cool story to check it out. Like I would say, go Google that. And then the other thing that I learned while I was prepping for the show, and it got lost in the shuffle of the pandemic, and I feel terrible that I didn't cover it earlier, but Dolly Parton has this amazing reading program called Dolly Parton's Imagination Library that is spreading across the country. It's also in United Way of Southwest Michigan does some of it, but here in Detroit, there are 2 zip codes, 48201, 48202, that are managed by Wayne State University. And this program is amazing. What it does is it supports early childhood literacy by offering kids 0 to 5 one age-appropriate book each month delivered to their door at no cost to the family. And you can make that happen for $25 for 1 year. And what a great program. This has been spreading across the country. Dolly Parton has done amazing things for education levels, you know, funding, that kind of thing. And I just wanted to highlight not only the music part, you know, if you've ever listened to the song Detroit City that she covered on that 9 to 5 album, but also the good work in helping kids across the United States and in 2 zip codes in Detroit. And by the way, that needs to happen all across Metro Detroit. I don't know how to do it, but I am pumped to support something like this. And I want to, like, we're going to go ahead and join the donor wall on that. And then I hope other people do. I'll put a link in the show notes. But this is the kind of program that I think shouldn't just be in 2 zip codes. I think it should be across Metro Detroit.
Yeah, Jerry, this is something that Dolly is just, like you said, a national treasure. I don't know anybody who doesn't like Dolly Parton. And the fact that she's got those Detroit ties that you pointed out is awesome. It's really great what she's doing with the libraries. Definitely encourage people to support that, look into that. Let's try and grow that here, make the Detroit area a huge, huge supporter for that. So that's awesome. Glad that you're having fun in Tennessee in the home of Dolly. You're going to check out Dollywood, though?
You know, that's going to be a future trip. I've got some younger nephews. Like, basically, Dollywood is, I almost want to say, like, I understand it as kind of like a Disneyland light, along with dinner shows and all that kind of stuff. A lot of the stuff in Dollywood, although I'm all for seeing it, it really feels like more of a kid's vibe, and I'm not with kids on this trip. So I'm going to save that. So if my nephews are hearing this show, make sure to lobby your parents for that to happen sooner than later.
Good point, Jaron. Well, you know, I'm now collecting ideas for kids type of trips and kids type of experiences. So maybe up my alley.
Nice thing about this place is you can kind of pick your vibe. If you do a family thing, that's great. Or like me, I'm in a tiny cabin. I'm going to be barbecuing dinner over a stream tonight. And it was not expensive, and that is so huge. And for a birthday trip, I couldn't ask for anything more.
Very cool. Well, let me ask you this then, Jer. You can tell me what you may be drinking now, but since you're in Tennessee, which seems like whiskey country, is there something you're going to be drinking later today that you want to shout out?
Okay, it's absolutely absurd. This is absolutely absurd. I'm going to go to the Tiki Bar at the new Guy Fieri's downtown Flavortown.
What?
That's my goal.
That was such a curveball. I was expecting you to tell me about some Tennessee whiskey that you were going to sip on or some kind of moonshine. You went with the Guy Fieri Tiki Bar.
Wow. Why not?
Bold move.
Listen, would you not want me to come back with a glass for you for the Flavortown Tiki Bar?
Oh, please do, Jer.
All right.
Please do. That sounds awesome.
That's the goal, is to have a tiki drink. And look, I know it's absurd. I know what I'm walking into. That's the point.
Well, I hope you enjoy your time in Flavortown then.
Where have you been?
Well, One place I've stopped off at, first of all, was Two James, which that's not new to anybody, or most people, I should say. But once in a while, Two James will drop a new offering in their spirits collection. And they just so happen to do something this past week called the French Connection, which is really, really cool. And anytime this happens, I have to make sure I get a bottle of it. So it's essentially their Michigan rye whiskey finished in French brandy casks, which is really nice. It gives it a very deep kind of red hue to it. And it makes it a little bit, it says here, kind of candied fruit, tobacco, and citrus, which you do pick up a little bit, but make no mistake, it is still a strong whiskey. We're still talking about 120 proof, 60%. So it's definitely a strong sipping whiskey, but that French brandy adds a little lightness to it.
That's so strong, you could almost set it on fire. What would you do with that? Are you going to sip that? How are you going to consume this?
I've done a couple. You can sip it certainly over ice, I would say. Given the weather, ice is probably a good accompaniment to sipping this. But I think, honestly, the best partner for this is your classic cocktails. So I've done a Manhattan with this. That was really good. I think you could do an old fashioned that would do really well to add some sweetness to it. And even a Boulevardier if you wanted to kind of add a little bit of a different kind of Amaro taste to it. So I think you stick with the classics with this.
So it seems like it's a thumbs up for you.
It is. It's a little on the pricey end, I will say.
Okay.
But the Two James offerings, you're going to pay $65 plus. It's on the pricey end, but I think it's worth it.
Okay. If you like something else, what would you like here? Like, dial this in for me. Who is this for?
You got to like brandy. I think that's as simple as that. You have to somewhat enjoy whiskey, obviously, or else this isn't going to be for you. But if you like kind of the bit of sweetness of brandy, if you're a wine drinker, even perhaps if you like a deep red wine, but you also enjoy whiskey, this would be a good one for you.
Today's episode is going to be a lot about different places we've been or places to go. And let's kick that off with, I saw you posting on Instagram about Chroma. What were you up to, sir?
Yeah, this was actually, full disclosure, one of my first forays back into society since the baby. So it was really cool. I have obviously professional interests with places like that and personal, because Chroma has just been this amazing project. To level set, I know we've mentioned it before, but to give you an idea of where it's at, it's on Grand Boulevard, just east of Woodward there. You cannot miss it. It used to be the Color Drip building. Now it's the girl with the D tattoo. It's like so bold. If you're driving down Woodward, you see it immediately. If you're driving down the boulevard, you see it immediately. It's like 9 stories.
D-earring, that's right.
Yeah.
It was Sidney James who did that.
Yeah, it's an incredible mural. I mean, super Instagrammable, as you might see from my Instagram. The platform group, Peter Cummings and that team, owns multiple properties, especially in that New Center, North End area. Peter and the platform are just doing an incredible job buying stuff. They own the Fisher Building. That would be the most notable. They bought this a few years back, and they've been working really hard on this to make this really a iconic showpiece for the area and for the city. And I believe they've accomplished it. So they had their open house yesterday after all these years of work. And I have to say, JR, it really embodies the spirit of Detroit. It is very much a public place. So like I said, there's 9 levels. They're not all spoken for yet, so they're working their way through it. The first level is huge, open kind of reception, could be event space, has multimedia technologies if you wanted to do like presentations or show videos, or there's art gallery kind of stuff. There's like basically movable art that you can move around, but it's kind of like an open public space. There's co-working already. There's some companies who are already moving in there, some notable companies and some startups on I believe the second and third or second through fourth floors. So you've got your general co-working type of space with conference rooms and all that that people can rent. And then on the 9th floor, you have this unbelievable event space that it holds up to 300 people. That's just so awesome. I mean, it's kind of white boxed, but you literally have 360-degree views of the city. It's all windows, and you can see, from that perch, there's no other tall buildings over there, Jared. So you can see for literally miles to downtown, out to Southfield. I was clocking. I could see the Southfield towers. I could see the Rensen. I could see East, West. I could see Dearborn. It was really amazing view. So, professionally and personally, I'm definitely going to be spending more time at Chroma because it's a great space for events, great space to hang out. They're going to program the hell out of it. If you follow them on social media, which I encourage everyone to do, look for all sorts of different events going on. They're going to do all sorts of stuff. They also have a huge outdoor space, like with a lot and chairs and setups and really, really cool stuff. Definitely check out Chroma. That North End, Jared, I don't need to sell you, but man, there's so much going on in that area.
Yeah, that Milwaukee Junction, all that. I went to a press conference at the top of that thing before it was finished, and the views are absolutely stunning. I'm glad to hear that they're doing more of that kind of integrate with, the community and do different things. And there being space there is very cool because you could go there and have like a complete day or have the things that you want. Like you've got the coffee shop literally around the corner. You've got places to stop by. And I feel like that can be a really great anchor. And I am glad that that building is now a space that is utilizing its height in a great way. Like it just wasn't great as like, I think it was paintball for a while and storage for a while and all these things that are absolutely the reverse of what you should do with like a 9-story building.
Yeah, it's such an anchor for that neighborhood. Like you said, everything from fine dining at Oak and Reel and cocktail bars like the Kiesling and Dragonfly, the new one from the Chartreuse people that's just next to Oak and Reel, to the Milwaukee Cafe. There's just so much going on in that area. That's the new hotspot. I don't know if they want people to talk about it because it's kind of cool the way it is, but that area is just growing in a really, really great way with small businesses, entrepreneurs, with the arts and culture. I love it. And nowadays, Jared, when I do spend time in Detroit, I make sure, that's one of the areas that I kind of stop off in, see what's new, and kind of maybe walk around a little bit in the neighborhood. It's really cool.
My neighbor absolutely loves their Monday record swaps. He takes his bike and goes down and does the Monday record swaps and just posts about it all the time. It's been a real popular thing. And speaking of records, you said Peter and the Platform. I feel like that's a vinyl I could find at a record shop somewhere down here. Like Peter and the Platform's greatest hits.
Peter and the Platform's greatest hits is just a collection of buildings, probably. I mean, they've done some really good buildings from the Boulevard to Baltimore Station to all that. That could be the names of the songs. Peter Cummings is quite an accomplished man in his own right, but I don't think he ever cut an album. I could be wrong.
We need to mock up a fake album and send it to him with the developments on it. I think that'd be fun.
He would appreciate that.
Every once in a while, Devon, I get a piece of mail from someone saying, Devon, Jer, why don't you talk about the suburbs a little bit more? And that's something we work on. But the thing is that there's got to be things that are happening. And not that there are, but, we need the tips, we need the ideas. But there's a pair of stories, a pair of developments to talk about in the suburbs, both in Wayne County. And, the thing is to realize, like, Wayne County is actually geographically a gigantic place when you dig into it. But there are a couple of cities that are making inroads on being attractive places to be and doing some interesting things. Let's start down in Wyandotte. There was a piece, I believe, in the Free Press about some of the attractiveness that Wyandotte is. It's a riverfront community. I mean, I visited there a number of times, and we have listeners there. Hello to all of you. But I remember it historically as that's the stop that you would make on the canoe before Detroit in the old fur trade. So you would stop at Wyandotte. That's where you would overnight, and then you would go ahead and go to Detroit as part of that route. That's what I read in a couple of history books.
I was going to say, you didn't make any stops on your canoe in Wyandotte, did you?
Well, I'm a geriatric millennial, but you could take that to a whole nother level. I am a multi-thousand-year millennial, an infinite millennial.
The fur trade wasn't still going strong in the late 90s, though. Was it there for you? No, Wyandotte is such a cool space, and I want to give it a shout out. Like you said, Wayne County is so much more than just Detroit, and I think sometimes it kind of just gets pegged for Wayne County is Detroit, and we know it's not the case. There's a lot more going on there, and also to that point, when we talk about some of the cool downtowns and the cool kind of cities in our Detroit area, I think we spend a lot of time talking about Royal Oak, Ferndale, places like that, Birmingham, rightfully so, great places in their own right, but there's some really cool places south and west too, and Wyandotte's one of them. They've got the street fair. They've always had kind of a nice little vibrant, walkable downtown, but they're really getting some local investment. And I think it's important to point out what they're getting is a lot of local people. So this isn't like outside corporations that are investing and pumping money into Wyandotte. These are local entrepreneurs. These are local business owners who are in some cases kind of like giving back in a way and saying, I'm going to invest the money I've made in my career into small businesses and commercial developments in Wyandotte. It's other people who have ties to that area. So it's really cool. And, you've got everything from a tasting room, the Oak Barrel, so you can get cocktails. You've got the Vault, which is a new fine dining restaurant. You've got coffee shops, multiple waterfront restaurants. My wife and I love the waterfront. It's called the Waterfront in Wyandotte. Just really, really cool waterfront dining. And now they're building condos and apartments, very much in a, again, Ferndale, Royal Oak type of scene. So I think Wyandotte is somewhere where if you haven't checked it out, give it a look. It's super walkable. It can cover anything from families to date nights to waterfront extravaganzas. They even have the floating tiki bars take off from Wyandotte. So you can even hit the water and enjoy some cocktails. So hats off to Wyandotte. I just like what they're doing there with their development downtown.
I like that they've been doing and respecting some of like their historic buildings that you've got stuff down there. A stat I want to pull out from this article from the Free Press, I'll link to it. The occupancy rate is 87% for commercial space and 99% for residential in downtown Wyandotte, which, I look at some of the small downtowns around Metro Detroit, and maybe this could be a template. And there's a restaurant that some friends have told me about called Taco Bros. I have not been because, I had work and then, getting ready to travel. But when I get back, it's something that I definitely want to check out. And if you are one of our listeners in Wyandotte, dailydetroit@gmail.com. Tell us where we need to go or send people. Now, going up some roads, because it is a little bit of a distance, downtown Northville's got some developments too, Devon.
Yeah, basically at the very top of Wayne County, right?
Yeah.
Like the very northern part. We've gone from southern Wayne County to now the very kind of northern top of Wayne County in downtown Northville, which again checks a lot of the boxes. A super walkable community. They've got a great downtown with a lot of small business support, restaurants and bars and galleries and places to get food. They did this thing. They closed off the streets, and at first it was just kind of temporary. But what I'm hearing, Jaron, and you can add to this, is it seems like this is going to be more of a permanent fixture because it went so well.
Yeah. So their city council voted to permanently close Main Street between Center and Hutton, and they just barely but did approve it to keep Center Street closed between Main Street and Dunlap, kind of creating this neighborhood where you can go eat in the streets, you can have fun in the streets. It gives it something that's special, and to do it as not just a social district, but to do it as this is what we're doing going forward, I think is a pretty bold move. And they're going to lose some federal funding for this, but apparently they'll be able to handle it in the budget. I imagine that they're also going to do some sort of recoup on trying to figure out like how to take care of these streets. But on the other side, you have a lot less wear when you're not driving trucks and cars over a street. It's going to last a whole lot longer. And, I've been to downtown Northville a bit. It's been a minute, and I feel like I really need to get back there and kind of highlight what some of the things are. And maybe even wouldn't it be fun to do an alfresco episode out there?
It'd be awesome. And there's plenty of places to do it. I've also been in downtown Northville recently a couple times. And if you look at it, it's kind of hard to explain if you don't know the streets, but the streets that they did close down or they are going to keep permanently closed, it really doesn't affect traffic that much. You can still easily get to where you need to get to. The thoroughfares are still there. You can't take your car right through the thick of downtown Northville, but I think you and I agree, Jared, you shouldn't be able to do that in cities anyway. You shouldn't be able to take a car right down the middle of where all the dining and shopping is. That kind of takes away from the quaintness and the enjoyability. So yeah, it kind of redirects traffic around a few block radius that sits and kind of creates this heart, the center of the city for Northville. Really cool. I hope that other towns and cities in the area take note of the success of this and maybe incorporate it in their own municipalities.
Well, at the end of the day, I want our region to win. We're all tied together. We've all got family in different places and friends all over the place. That's just the nature of this place. And so I really want multiple places to win. I really think it's important that we have a view that Detroit can win and Northville can win and Wyandotte can win and Allen Park and Grosse Pointe, because that's how we are going to grow as a region. And, we had a lot of serious conversations this week on the show, but it does impact the serious stuff too, because if people want to be in different places of the region, depending on where they are in life and their station in life, that's a great thing, right?
Absolutely. It gives you all sorts of options. This region, you really can get anything you want, the type of life that you want, the type of living situation, no matter where you're at in life, family, single, whatever it is, empty nester, there's everything for you. And we have amazing communities. And, Jared, we love Detroit. We talk about Detroit all the time. That's the bulk of the stuff that's going on. But I think I really do appreciate when we're able to kind of highlight some of these other cool towns and cities in our region that really serve to enhance a way of life and lifestyles for all the people who are here. So great to shout out some places like Northville and Wyandotte. And we'll continue to do that for all those other cool places. If you live in a really cool town or somewhere in the region, let us know and we'll check it out. Jared and I are happy to go check it out and see what's what all around Southeast Michigan.
All right. Well, that is it for today's edition of your Daily Detroit. Next week, I'm going to take my birthday day off next week for the show, so expect 3 episodes next week. We're also working on the temporary studio at the same time, so I won't be necessarily off, but I will be working on stuff so that we can have everything work more efficiently. Behind the scenes, people are working, trying to get our newsletter really sharp for future editions. Lots of people are on vacation, taking breaks. This is the time to retool and be ready, because Devon, as soon as we hit the fall, it's going to be gangbusters, right? I mean, that's how it is in Metro Detroit. It's like this seasonal move of business and everything.
Yeah, can't even begin to describe how much is going on in the fall, professionally, personally. It's going to be a lot. We'll try and cover as much as we can, but there'll be all sorts of exciting stuff. Relax while you can, because big things coming next month and beyond.
Oh, absolutely. Well, Devon O'Reilly, it's so good to talk to you. Thank you for your time.
Always happy to be on, Jer. Glad we could connect from all the way down there in Tennessee. I hope you enjoy your time in the land of Dolly.
Listen, just because I'm stopping by Guy Fieri's place doesn't mean that I'm not going to find me a good whiskey.
All right, I'm going to hold you to that. Maybe we can taste some whiskey the next time we get a chance to talk, Jer.
All right, well, with that, I'm Jer Stays.
I'm Devon O'Reilly.
Take care of each other. Remember that you are somebody, and we'll see you around Detroit.